Not allowed. Okay. Is it? I have to refresh. Hey guys, the pre-video shenanigans here. I bet you like the real YouTubers don't do this, do they? They don't. They don't get on here and go, "Hey, I wonder if this thing's working today." Hey,
Maybe they do.
I wonder what this thing is. I wonder if it's working today. Let's see what we got here. Check. Oh, look, we got a commercial.
I skipped one.
Oh, you skipped yours? Pinball machines, golden tea. Oh.
Approval. It doesn't always come easy.
Oh, does it just keep going?
I know. It's easier getting approval.
Okay, go away. Hey, look, it's us. Hmm?
Why is it repeating?
Because this is behind. So, and then it's looping. It hears itself, and then it goes through again.
Hears itself again.
And then hears itself again.
Yes, it's a little hard.
I know.
He tried.
Try so hard. We ask so much. Hey, looky there. It's Jim Stute from Madison, Wisconsin. We have Michael Greenhill. We have Scott Howland. Howdy, Scott. I don't know. I think I've just about given up on the idea of making it to Carnage this year. I just don't. There's just stuff. There's just stuff going on, and I don't know that I'm going to make it. As much as that pains me to say, I absolutely want to be there with you guys, but probably not going to happen. But it is what it is. I think probably the biggest thing is that I really want to make sure that in November we're going to be possibly in the biggest throes of our Kickstarter push to get everything done and sent, and trying to make sure that we hit our own self-imposed deadlines and things like that. And right now it's looking iffy, and if I was further ahead on things and if things were going better, maybe I'd go, you know what? I don't mind taking a few days off and going up to the convention. And, there was, we still got 1 minute before we go live. I pledged for a Kickstarter thing. I do occasionally on Kickstarter. I'll pledge on something. And the guy was so far behind on, delivering on his rewards. And then the next thing you know, he's publishing pictures of showing himself at Gen Con. And it's like, so you're over a year behind on your rewards and taking care of your people that have pledged. But you take that money and go off to Gen Con instead, and I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that makes sure that we hit the deadline. And that means we're at 8:00.
And it's time to shop.
Is it?
I think so.
Shop?
Or chop? Maybe
Chop? I don't know. What's it from?
I think it's actually shop, but it's
shop. It's time to shop. What's that from? Is that a thing?
I think it's from like QVC.
QVC. Welcome to QVC. Today we have some.
Lord. They've downgraded.
Today I'd like to offer you a little black square with some numbers on it. It's very
Yeah,
fashionable.
we
You
got
can
a
wear this
Sharpie, it's
anywhere.
really high end.
High-end Sharpie here. This is
Writes
lovely,
beautifully.
lovely Sharpie. It's got a pointy end. It's got a fine point on it. Yeah. Hey, everybody. This is Dave, and I am with the world's most dangerous Bessy.
Dangerous those.
Dangerous.
You better watch them.
Purely defensive. Because she is so dangerous, I have to have,
Well, I have been known to throw them.
I know she. Oh, an elbow. Yeah.
That's all I need. Is one.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Did I show you guys these cool cards? So this is about a 30-minute video today.
Ooh.
So these are the lovely new cards. Did that switch? Look at this. Look at this. So this is the new slip card and the new character cards featuring some lovely artwork by David Oakham. Now don't love the guy. Love Mr. David Oakham, and he's does just some beautiful work for us. But you know, he's paid for this stuff. This isn't on the cuff, you know. He's well paid in jelly beans and beef jerky. So we're switching. I think almost all of our characters have now switched to the new character
the new
cards.
fancy
So it's
dancies.
looking pretty cool. So some of the things, before we get too much further, will you take a moment and click that like and subscribe button if you're not a subscriber? If you're already a subscriber, be sure and click that notify, that bell, so when we upload a new video or go live, you know, in the middle of the night.
You don't want to watch this video.
Yeah.
That's an accident.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, just click that off. Yeah, you'll be scarred for life. So you'll be notified when we upload a new video. We've tried to start switching to more live videos, and that's really in an effort to stop me from working on videos instead of things that I really should be working on. So, for example, a little 12-minute video, if you're going to do it upright and you're going to, you know, do all the editing and yada, 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 you know, that,
hours.
and yeah, like 6 hours, you know, I mean, it can take a long time. So this is to prevent me from doing that. These live sessions are really an effort to continue to chat with you guys, but to do it in a casual way without any editing, without any, you know, glamour. I have stopped doing my makeup that I was wearing before. So now I just, you know, appear in the raw.
I don't.
Who else is on here tonight with us?
Marty has a question.
Marty has a question.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Marty. How you doing, buddy? Marty Devine?
Yes.
Who else? Hey, Manny Marino is on here. Robert Reynolds is on here. Very nice. Hey, Robert Reynolds. Joe Little, thank you so much for being on here. Joe is almost always on here. We really do appreciate that. What's the question? How come I don't see Marty's question?
It's okay. In Tomb of the Serpent, what do you substitute for the random events that generate extreme perils?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's just a peril. So for it to be second edition, if it generates an extreme peril, it just generates a peril.
So you just flip a card.
It's just a peril. Yep. So yeah, just treat perils as perils. You know, we have toyed a few times with reintroducing extreme perils, but it always gets shot down. I think, you know, anyway, there are some every once in a while there's a peril in there where you get to play it from your hand, like for some abilities and things like that. But most of the time, just let it be random and let it go. Michael Greenhill is on here. Alan Shanks is on here. I think he's from Australia. Is he an Australian?
He is.
We have Vern Jeske, a Californian. I wonder if Vern Jeske, you think Vern's was from California originally? Berjeski, we need a little bit of backstory. I see him. I see him possibly born in the Midwest. I see him growing up in possibly Ohio.
You're just pulling that out of your raw.
I see him possibly Decatur. Decatur comes to mind. Decatur. And possibly his father was a plumber, and he I'm the signal's really weak. He moved to California to get a better life for his family. That's the story I came up with anyway.
Ooh, you need a little work on your crystal balls.
No, when Vern chats, he'll tell you all
Vern
of that
is
was
never going to admit any of
100%,
that.
100% accurate. So, one thing that we were thinking that would be really fun is to do a post game video to talk about the game that we play on Sundays. Those games are so much fun, and they're fun to talk about afterwards. And Bessy and I were just sitting there talking about the game afterwards, and we're like, this should be a video. This is another thing that, it would be cool to be able to chat back and forth about the things that happened in that game. Do you guys do that? I think that's a lot of fun. But I think it might be hard to do on Sunday, which we almost need to do it, for the post game report almost needs to be, fairly close to the game. I think even Monday might be pushing it a little bit, because then we start forgetting what happened, and then we have to go back and watch the video again. And we don't want to do that. I normally watch the videos anyway, but anyway, I thought that would be a fun video. Mm-hmm. We both did. Well, just trying to see if we could figure out a way to work that in, possibly on a Sunday evening.
It wouldn't have to be a particularly long.
No. What were some of the things about the game that you thought were interesting? Do you remember? See, it's been so long now.
No, let's see. We talked about the brutal first.
Oh, the first turn. The first turn was brutal. How many characters did they have down on the first turn of the game? Over half of their characters were down. But then they turned around and made all their stinking recovery checks, except maybe one person. I don't remember. They may have made all of them. I don't remember.
I think they all did.
And then it was all back up. So it's like you go through all that to get them down, and you get them crushed, and then they make their recovery and pop back up.
And then having the baddie not recover for so long.
Yes.
Super helpful.
Yeah, I don't think I ever made a recovery check for him.
You made one.
Did he make one?
You made one. You bounced up to back, and then you got down twice.
Yeah. Him failing to make his recovery check left him hanging by a thread, and when they really needed to, they were able to put him down, which removed him from the table. Not for long, but at least they got him off the table for a little while, and then they could actually do a little bit, try to do a little bit while he was gone and before he reappeared. And then when he reappeared, he was way off in the corner in a bad spot. So they really got a lot of breathing room there. Chris Girardi played that game solo, and he came very close to winning it. He was within a hair's breadth, and I don't think he got the extra turns that
I don't think so.
They did. Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember, it's been so long. But.
Yeah. So they got those two events. They got the buy some time fortune card that allowed them to extend the game, and then they got the reward card that would allow them to extend the scenario. So they got two cards that would extend the scenario, and that was huge. that helped them they needed it. They went into overtime. They used one of those extra turds to get it over there. So it's a really interesting scenario because it can look like it can look like you are getting trounced and beat up. And then if you can just get that last plot point, that fourth plot point, and that automatically makes the grave appear, and you get to pick, if you set it up right, and Michael and Dave did, they got those characters into the middle, so they were ready. They were camping the middle of the table, just waiting because they knew that grave was going to appear, and as soon as it did, Mac was picked as the descendant and walked over to it, and boom, it was done. So it was really, really close, but man, what a fun game. What a fun game. Now I have seen, it's a hard scenario. Probably, and I would say, boys and girls, for our Sunday games, in a lot of ways, those scenarios are almost harder because we're almost always starting from scratch. Imagine playing that scenario if you were playing it with one of your own leagues that you had been working on and that had a little bit of experience under their belt, or had some resources in the bank that they could buy some assets. I have seen a single league play that scenario and win it multiple times, but it's normally because they had a little bit of experience under their belt and some assets in the bank, and they could spend it to buy exactly what they needed to try and win that scenario.
Right. Yeah.
So that makes it a whole lot easier. And I kind of take those sorts of things into account when we're designing those scenarios. Remember, I play these scenarios too, and I can't really make them. There's no secret to doing these scenarios. Like there's no, okay, all you have to do is do X, Y, and Z, and you automatically win. Because guess what? I would know that.
Well, not with your rule dice roll.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't want it to be, there's multiple ways that the scenario can be played and multiple ways that you can win it. And it should always be a challenge, no matter how many leagues. I've seen 3 leagues go into that scenario and just get scattered to the wind and not be able to get it done because it can be tough.
Well, especially not being able to share.
There's a reason why. It would be way too easy if it was shared like that. Anyway, wouldn't that be fun to have a post-game video? Let me know what you guys think. I'd like some feedback on that. What else do we need to talk about? Scenario of the month for...
We sent the cards out for the rest of the year.
We sent the cards out for the rest of the year. So if you are a subscriber, you should have all your cards for the entire year. And I know that for scenario number 44, the pack did not include a slip card. And Bessy, I was not going to do it, but Bessy made me make a new slip card. So those are dropped into the envelope as well. So when you open your envelope up, and it's going to have your 4 packs of cards for the remaining 4 months, it'll also have an extra card just floating around in there, and that's the slip card for scenario 44. So be sure and thank Bessy for that, because I wouldn't have done it if it was left to me.
They can't not match.
I was just going to write it on a piece of notebook paper with little blue lines on it and write 4 and drop that in there if you needed something there. There's your dang thing. Go on with your kids. Get off my yard. Escape from the cages. This is a neat scenario, number 45, I think, for September. You guys ought to check that one out. That's a neat one. You start with 1 leader character, and you've got to go around to these different cages and try to release the other leagues. I'm sorry, the other characters. And there's a few extra characters in there too. So very cool. If you can get around to the cages and get those them open without setting off the alarm, that's really what you want to try and do. But, if you get caught and you get spotted and then the baddies are coming after you and you're still trying to open up the cages, then it can get kind of dicey. So let's talk real quick about the Kickstarter.
Ooh,
What is the next PDF that you're going to send out, Bessy?
stretch goals.
The stretch goals. So far, she has sent out 2 different PDFs. So if you should have got the core rules PDF, then you should have that now. And that's anybody that that is getting the starter box, or if you just ordered like an extra rule book, then you should get that PDF. So there's the core rules PDF. And the other PDFs that she sent out was the IRES leagues. So the new cards in PDF format for Danger Incorporated and the Phantom Agents. So you'll get the new cards, and there are a couple bonuses in that PDF that will not actually appear in the printed version. So that's something to think about also. Couple little fun bonuses in there. So if you did that add-on, if you did the add-on for the IRES leagues, whether or not you did the printed copy or if you just did the PDF, you should have the PDF now, because even if you did the printed cards, you still get the PDF. So, and then the next PDF we're putting together is the stretch goals.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fairly big one, and that'll be going out to nearly everybody. So keep an eye out for that one, hopefully within the next week or so. So that brings us to the books. Of the official count right now, Bessy, you want to tell them?
6 pages
6 pages.
left.
6 pages left to finish for the characters book. So there are 6 pages that I have left that I'm not 100% finished with. So, gosh, you know what? I'd love to just get that finished before the end of the weekend by Sunday. And
I think you can do
then, just really focus in on those 6 pages and get them knocked out, and then get that book sent off to the proof and editor and get that one behind us. And then we can get through China Station hopefully fairly quickly as well. But 6 pages is our current count. So we're on like countdown time right now. Sometimes on these projects, I'm honest with you here, boys and girls, I am as surprised as anybody else when they get done. It's like you work and work and work and
How
work
many
on
pages
these
is it?
things.
How many pages is it?
Well, if you count everything and beak feathers and all, it's 148, I believe, and that includes like things like the cover and the inside cover and the first interior page, and then yada yada yada. And then when you get to the back, that includes the inside back cover and the outside back cover, yada yada yada. So it's a lot of pages. So we still have 6, and it's not like those 6 pages aren't even started. They're all 6 pages are probably 50% or so done.
Yeah.
So we're like getting
when you
really
smooth it
close.
out, it's almost like 3 pages.
Oh, it's basically like
Basically
half a
3.
page, maybe like one sentence.
I mean, we could put in some
One
nice artwork
complete
there,
sentence
so-
there, and we're probably done there. So one question that came up today. Hey, did you guys see the video that I did earlier today when I was talking about new stuff? When I was talking about some cool things that I got in? I want to show you this ship. Can I show them the ship?
Yes.
I tell you what, guys, I want to open this up, but I can't do it while Bessy's watching, so don't mention it. Oh, this ship. Switch me to camera 2 for a second. Oh, look at this thing. Look at this thing. I think this is so freaking awesome. It's almost 14 inches long, and it's about 4 inches wide. And I don't know. W- It's about 14 inches long and about 4 inches wide. And it fits nicely in this box. Now, I don't know if the 14 inches includes a little bit on the end.
It probably does.
I don't know. Anyway, I just love this ship. And the reason I do is because I would use this in so many places. And I think it would feel perfectly fine in so many different locales. I'd use it in the Caribbean. I'd put it in the Mediterranean. I'd put it in the China Sea. You know, I would put it all over the place. I think it's a great ship to use in a lot of different settings. So, anyway, I have a few other projects that I need to work on, but if I get through all my other projects, this sucker might get opened up and a splash of paint and it'll get out on the table. But and in the meantime, it'll sit on the shelf for
Waiting for somebody to love it.
somebody to show it some loving. Somebody out there might want to show it some loving. Now, since the video that we did earlier today, I showed you the two longboats. I showed you the two longboats that I had also, and these are going to a well-deserving home. So
Are they?
yes, they are.
Yay.
Yes, they
Who
are.
they get adopted to?
They've been adopted. Yes, by Mr. Peck. So
Yay.
these are going away. So thank you, sir. Thank you for being an adopting parent.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
forever
Warms the heart. Warms the heart. Let's see, what else do we need to talk about? The convention. So this question comes up time and time again, and I really like this question. I think I'm planning to try and write a little bit of a response to this question and include it hopefully in the China Station book.
Mhm.
And it's about how do I deal with large numbers of players, or what should I do for a convention and things like that. So I think there was a lot of really good response over on the players group. And it's a good question. I guess the things that I always think of are if you have a bunch of players, you should really be the game master and not play.
Mhm.
You should set out so that you can kind of direct things, and maybe you could move some NPCs that are on the table and things like that. But I would really encourage you, if you have even 3 or 4 players, to kind of step out of it and
Yeah.
let them be the players and you kind of direct the action.
Because you want to focus on that
Correct.
more than
Yeah.
moving your own
Right.
stuff.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's one of the big ones, is to really be the referee sort of thing. Your primary goal is to keep the action running, and to keep track of who is the director, and to constantly be encouraging them to make decisions. That's something that really sets Pulp Alley apart from a lot of games that are less dynamic and less engaging. Pulp Alley really expects the players to be an active participant in the game, almost every minute, because you never know when one of your characters is going to do something or be involved in a fight or something, and you win it, and then you become the director, and now you're directing the action. So it's important for you as the game master. I think your primary function is really to keep track of who the director is and to politely encourage them to be making that decision. You're the boss. Who do you want to go next?
Yeah.
Is probably in a convention setting. That's probably one of the most common things. I say, you're the boss. Who do you want to go next? Because if you can keep the players on task and keep them doing that, everything else kind of comes together very nicely. Reducing the number of characters that each player uses is also a good idea. I like to give them a leader, a sidekick, and an ally. That gives them a nice spread of differences there. Those are three very different levels of characters. So they can kind of get a feel for how those characters are different. Rather than giving them, okay, you're going to take these 12 characters and these, this sort of thing. And that leads me to the next thing is really try to keep it straightforward, keep it easy for yourself and easy for them. For your first game out of the box at a convention, and sometimes folks take these games to a convention without ever actually really even playing them with somebody else. And that's not the time to go, all right, I'm going to have vampires come floating in on airplanes or out of a Zeppelin, and things like this. And as awesomely cool as that sounds, it can also get kind of overwhelming when you're trying to do that in the midst of explaining rules and running the game and things like that. So I recommend, do smash and grab. Try to avoid including a bunch of special rules, because those are the downfalls that you kind of get sucked into when you start including too many special rules. For your first introductory game to Pulp Alley, nothing better than doing a smash and grab scenario and letting them go for it. You can always come up with a really cool story around a smash and grab scenario to make it interesting. Anyway. Yeah, without including a bunch of extra special rules. All right, I think that is it. We got 3 minutes to go. I think we're done there. Do we have any questions for the boys and girls? We got Lord Grumpus on here. Marty Devine, David Lowe is on here. Hugh Thompson, did we just recently send something to him?
Did.
I think your package went out either today or yesterday. Went out yesterday. So, we were held up. Oh, Hugh. We were held up for the jewelry store, Davis Jewelry Store. So that was one of the things that we were missing. So that came in with this order, and then that's in your box. The other thing that you're going to be missing is scenario pack number 40. And I will just have to owe you that one. But I didn't want to sit on the rest of the order any longer. So I went ahead and sent everything out, except you are going to be missing scenario pack number 40. And it could easily be a couple weeks before I have that back in. So I didn't want to sit on everything for 2 more weeks. So there's a little note in your box to help remind you. And here, I'll write it down too. 40. Okay, got it.
Vern has a question.
Hey, Vern, what's up?
Would Dave be able to give some examples of the experience advancement and growth of characters? Also, you were wrong. It was Nebraska, where his father was from.
Oh.
So, but back to the question.
Nebraska.
Can you give some examples?
I hate, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, but I believe your father may have been lied to you. That was a cover story. Vern. Fairly sure. Ohio. What was the question?
Can you give some examples of the experience advancement and growth of characters?
Oh. Yep. Yes. Possibly one of the best examples you will be getting shortly, sir. Because I think if you did the Kickstarter and you did the Phantom Agent bonus pack or something like that, it will have 4 new versions of Phantom Ace, Roswell, Rutherford, and Gaged, and they will be experienced versions of those characters. So I think for Phantom Ace, he actually has a new ability that hasn't been published anywhere but will be released with the characters book. I don't know if you're asking me how you pick it, but basically it's based on experience points. So when you accumulate those experience points, and experience points are intended to be hard to come by. In other words, characters are not supposed to just go through leaps and bounds, and all of a sudden, after two or three games, they're completely different, or now they're much stronger. It's normally through almost a campaign that leaders may be able to accumulate enough experience points to buy a new ability. And the way you do that is a new ability costs a number of experience points equal to the character's level. So for Phantom Ace to buy a new ability, he has to spend 4 experience points. For Gage to buy a new ability, she has to expend 3 experience points. For an ally level character, they have to spend 2 experience points, and for a follower, they have to spend 1 experience point. And then you can pick out a new ability for them. It's just like you would when you were creating that character. So you could, like for Gage, for example, after you accumulated 3 experience points, you could look at that and you could go, man, I sure would like to have her maybe be a little bit tougher or something like that. And by then, after playing her that long, you probably have a good idea of what you would like to see done a little bit better. So you could say, you know, what if I gave her Indomitable? Something that would help her re-roll her recovery checks and keep her in the fight longer, or something like that. So then they go up and they gain that new ability. Now there is a limit on how many new abilities a character can gain, and that is equal to their level. So a leader can, in their full course of their existence career, they can gain 4 new abilities, which would be a total of 12, 16. 16 experience points, which is a huge number, by the way. A ally can only ever gain 2 new abilities. A follower can only gain 1 new ability in their career. I don't know. I hope I covered all that, Vern. My sense of the experience has been more realistic than other systems.
Real life campaign, like the full
Yeah.
campaign.
Yes.
And we could see it in action.
Yes. That's what I would like to do. I think we're coming up on the end of the 2020 cycle that we've been playing through. We only have a couple more scenarios, so we might as well go ahead and finish that out. And then we'll probably get into the live game. And then what I would really like to do, you know, it may limit things a little bit, but I would really like to play a live campaign and let players keep track of their resources that they gain from one scenario to the next and their experience, so that then they can choose to spend that experience or not, you know, and then you can see how it goes. The idea is that from one movie to the next, a character can change, but they don't change a lot during the movie, right? Let's just throw one out there and say what? The Lost Ark or something like that. You know, you don't see a lot of change from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie for Indiana Jones. Like that's not where his experience is really going to, oh, now I can do this when I couldn't do it before, you know. But as you go into another movie, maybe he learns, hey, now for some reason he knows how to fly an airplane, you know, or something like that, you know.
Sand probably isn't going to work when you're switching an
Right. So the campaign is what is intended to be like, you go through Tomb of the Serpent. By the end of that, chances are you're going to be ready to gain a new ability for your leader, unless you've been spending the experience on other stuff, which you could do that too. All right. Well, we are over on time. Do we have any other questions?
I don't think so.
Telemachus, vampires on airplanes now? You bet. Samurai vampires on steam airplanes, sir. You know they're steam airplanes because they have a bunch of gears all down through the side of them. Okay.
Okay, we're gonna call it.
Okay, we're calling it there. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button for us, and we will see you next time. Cue the music. Roll credits. Dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, da. Da, 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 da. Dun, 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 da, da.